As allies to the trans community, us as people who want to see these youth thrive, the best thing we can do is meet them with a welcoming, safe environment where they're allowed to be themselves, and they know that if they come out as their authentic selves, the school's going to back them.
That starts with something as simple as accommodating trans and non-binary students with safe space bathrooms. A Quebec school board is doing that with a new policy now implementing clear rules on how to receive transgender students.
Having these procedures in place is a good thing because then it actually gives a framework in which teachers and other teaching professionals have to actually adhere to some of this.
Those of the Navigateur School Board on the south shore of Quebec City will now have to identify trans students by the name and gender they've chosen, even if their record says otherwise. Students should also be able to use the washrooms and locker rooms they feel most comfortable in. David Hawkins of the West Island LGBTQ2+ Center helps put on support groups for transgender youth and says the policy is good news for the community, but it's a delicate process to implement.
It needs to be taken in a way that's thoughtful and methodical, because if it's done poorly, it could almost be worse than if it was not done at all.
Hawkins says he's heard of teachers being inclusive and using preferred pronouns, but the paperwork was still an issue.
And then they went into a ministry exam and used their chosen name on their exams, and then the school board didn't recognize them because the name on their exam was not the name that they were signed up under.
This is why Hawkins says these policies brings with it some skepticism.
A lot of people in the LGBTQ community, and especially a lot of people in the trans community, are still very hesitant to take this as this is 100% good news, because the historical context is that people will say that they want to do the best, but then the follow-through isn't there.
Since 2016, the Commission Scolaire de Montréal has been accommodating trans students, with other boards like the MSB following suit, implementing gender-neutral bathrooms in certain schools. The Ministry of Education also helped produce a guide for schools to support trans and non-binary students. Hawkins says they've given a number of workshops to schools and says it isn't too difficult for teachers to be more inclusive.
Asking for their preferred pronouns, really accommodating that's something that's very easy, very doable, and it doesn't really require a lot of effort.
In Montreal, Alicia Rubertucci, City News.